Everyone, welcome to Lenovo ISG. It's already been 3 months, so it's awesome. 2024 is going pretty fast. I'm Pratik Patel, a technology consultant with Ingram Micro, and your host for today. My mission is to use this platform to uncomplicate the latest technologies, and each month we explore the latest innovations in an effort to uncover new ways for you to engage and collaborate with your customers by identifying the best solutions, services, and tools. And I understand, that the changes of how the Grubhub credit are dispersed has really caused a lot of confusion. That's not what we're all about, but due to some program changes that we recently had, starting with this event, all credit will be added to your account a week after this event because it takes about 7 days for them to process and get the credit out to you. So check your registration email for more details. But now back to the show. We're on with AMD to discuss a variety of topics that are top of mind for our customers. And today, we're focusing on AI at the edge, better known as Edge AI. I've been talking about Edge AI since I think 2022, so I definitely love the Edge and definitely love AI, so perfect match for me. We'll explore how you can harness its potential to revolutionize your offerings, drive revenue, and increase your growth. Before we begin, I have a confession to make. Kind of embarrassing, but until recently, I had never seen the Godfather film. That's not unusual because I always try to avoid any type of those gangster movies because I'm just not really into that genre. But I accidentally stumbled upon it. I actually was watching it for like half an hour before I even realized it was the Godfather. But I was instantly pulled into that Corleone family as it kind of reminded me of my own family. Not the mafia or the murdering part, but the dynamics within the family. Now I'm obsessed. I think I've watched all 3 parts so many times, but watching it the first time, I kind of felt a little silly for waiting so long and silly for not really getting why it was such a big deal. But now I get it. And I guess I'm really sharing this because it's a little reminder of how, many amazing things are out there that we might not even be giving a chance to. This is true in life and in technology. Just something to think about. But enough of that. Let's get going. As usual, please put your comments and questions into the chat. We'll keep an eye on it and address them as they come in. Oh, I almost forgot. Let me share this.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to put something in the chat here.
Get it out. And take it from there.
So basically, a little later, I'll provide additional information on this great prize that you could win. Check your chat box. You'll find out what it is. Now let's really get going. Everyone, please join me in welcoming my guest to the virtual stage. First up is Nathan Moich with Ingram Micro. Everyone, Nate is my go-to resource when I want to learn about the latest sales promotions. Hi, Nate. Glad you could join us.
Hey, Pratik. I'm going to start calling you the Lenovo Godfather. How about that?
There you go. Yeah. Sanjeev from Ingram Micro, he's actually called the Godfather of AI. So yeah, that's I love that. So Nate, could you kind of give us a little bit about, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role?
Yeah, thank you, Pratik. So my name's Nate Moich. I'm based out of the Buffalo office here at Ingram Micro. So my day-to-day is helping a lot of partners that are on the call with, quoting out, deal registration, profitability, and understanding Lenovo as a whole. So there's a lot of great stuff going on right now. Just going to take a couple of minutes and just cover that. So one of the biggest things is our booster program. For those of you that have been around for a while, booster program, you've seen it, it's been around for 2 years or so, but we revamped it recently. What that means to you, think of it as an Ingram loyalty program. No crazy requirement for you guys, but partner such as yourself, just sign up. It enables you to use lunch and learns, free all-up Ingram tech support. It also covers the IDG side, which is the client side, as well as us here on the data center side. So there's try and buy opportunities. We could probably help you out with some market development funds. I've had some partners in the past. We helped them do a lunch and learn of their own. Another partner did a car wrap and things like that. So those are a lot of good benefits we have going on. So once again, it's our booster program. As you move up, there's the regular and there's the elite. Depending on how much you do and how much you spend, we can do Cloud Logic, do some right-size assessments. A lot of good opportunities there for you to grow. I brought up deal registration with Lenovo. You don't have to jump through hoops. There's no longer a revenue requirement. and no longer, crazy waiting periods. So we can do the deal reg for you. We can spec it out, gets auto approved, locks it in for at least 90 days. It also gives you a discount and 8% advantage over any other partner that might be competing on the same opportunity. So just want to call it out. We certainly pride ourselves on, response time, deal registration. Lenovo is very partner friendly. They're very channel friendly. So I can certainly get you squared away with the rebate structure and things like that. I also want to talk about Xvantage. So that's an Ingram Micro thing. As Ingram becomes more of a platform company, the processes are going to be streamlined and automated. So essentially, the traditional quoting process will get automated. Everything is going to flow over. You will see your price, and it's going to take out a lot of the, just manual things you might be familiar with. So we are live as of yesterday with our BTO or bestseller models. And as far as CTO, which is about 90% of what partners and we do, which is that direct ship model, that should be live soon as well. So once again, what it means to you, just a streamlined process. There's an Ingram Micro Xvantage mobile app as well. So we're going to be the only distributor in the channel. We're going to be very unique in that sense. So I'm really excited about that. Stay tuned. For you, those of you that use other vendors at Ingram, you might already be using that experience. And then lastly, I'd certainly encourage you to explore the Lenovo portfolio. We're so much more than just servers. We have storage. We have bundled software, quite a bit there. Like I said, I talked about BTO and CTO, but there's quite a bit. Pratik, keep me honest. Anything else you wanted me to touch on?
I think the Fast Track was one of those new programs that I was really interested in. If you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, great call out. So along with the booster program, we have Fast Track. So I know a lot of you partners on the call, you're concerned with rebates, but usually that goes to the company's, your company's bottom line. We introduced a Fast Track path. So you as an individual rep get compensated for transacting. So there's a couple easy pathways. You do some training, it's easily highlighted. You sign up for, once again, a booster, and then you get go points, so you can go and transact and pretty much cash them in for whatever you want to purchase through our Ingram marketplace. So once again, based on partner feedback, they always ask, how as a rep, I'd be looking forward to get compensated. Fast Track's the way to go. So, we have Fast Track, and then on the Lenovo Direct side, we have Leap Points. So certainly encourage you to go inside the Lenovo portal. You can transact, and then certain models you get Leap Points, which will be pretty much deposited into your account. So between Fast Track and Leap, there's quite a bit of profitability there.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Nate. Yeah, sounds like a lot of great programs are coming to the channel. So definitely, keep us in, abreast of all the stuff that's happening. So thank you very much.
Yeah, just lastly, lenovo.servers@ingrammicro.com. So I work out of that box.
Perfect.
Feel free to copy me. I'll be monitoring the chat. If anyone else wants a follow-up call or have any questions, just let me know. But thanks, guys.
Perfect. Nate, if you could do me a favor and put that email into the chat, just so that everybody has it.
Will do.
Perfect. Thanks. Next, we have Zlatko Pozdorak with us today. He's with AMD. Zlatko, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pratik. So, as Pratik said, my name is Lenovo Pozdorak. I am one of our field solutions architects at AMD, supporting our channel partners and our distribution partners. So I'm here as a support mechanism for Ingram, as well as some of our VAR partners. So my role is to be the technical guide to make sure that you guys understand what our product offerings are, as well as what our kind of go-to-market is with each of them, as well as provide you the information and to answer any specific questions regarding workloads. And if you guys run into any issues, that's what we're here for, to support you guys through that mechanism as well. If you're deploying out in the field and something just doesn't go wrong, or you run into that problem of it's supposed to be higher performance, but it's not. The things of that nature is kind of my role within AMD. Typically based out of Tampa, Florida. Today, I'm actually in Raleigh, North Carolina, freezing my behind off. For those of us that are in Florida, it's a brisk 44 degrees here today, so it's been chilly.
Yeah, welcome to North Carolina. Weather can change every minute. And also, we have Jason Minchin joining us today. He's with Ingram Micro. Jason, could you share a few words about yourself and your role?
For sure. Thank you, Pratik. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Minchin. I'm the technical account manager covering AMD for Ingram Micro. So serving as a partner-facing technical resource for all things AMD, really, whether it is a server or a desktop deployment, whether it's a component or through an OEM like Lenovo, everything right up to like Xilinx and some of the more specialized and specific items that AMD has available. Any type of technical needs you have, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm always happy to hop in and help out in any way that I can.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Jason. So let's begin. So Zlatko, you know that in the recent years, Edge AI has really demonstrated that exceptional ability to really process that data locally, really on that device itself, rather than relying on cloud computing or even the data center core. This shift has really promised to really enhance the privacy issues, reduce latency and even decrease resilience on that, constant having and needing internet connectivity. Considering these, advantages, can you share your thoughts about the future of Edge AI?
Yeah, 1 second. I think there's a PLP ask real quick to hold an AMD logo up for PLP. Let me grab this right here. This is hopefully it's coming through right there. Just to show that up real quick. So in regards to the question about Edge AI and kind of where the market's going with that, I think the biggest changes you'll start seeing is once companies figure out what their actual AI applications gonna be, whether they're trying to do an on-prem large language model, do a distributed large or distributed LLM, or they're trying to do computer vision with retail things of that nature. You're going to start noticing more and more changes to, I think, the deployment mechanism. Right now everybody's focused on the big bad data center GPUs, which I think are great for the training piece. They're apps, but you don't necessarily need, you know, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15, 40 GPUs in these server racks that'll eat up 20 kilowatts of power. And you might not be able to fit that within your data center. So as companies start realizing what their goals are and what they're trying to achieve, they're going to start pushing more and more of it to the edge where they can actually deploy it locally and get it up and running and allow their users to be able to utilize it without having to go to the back end cloud costs of a solution like that.
Okay, perfect. In that regard, Zlatko, Lenovo introduced the SE455 V3 Edge server, which is really aimed at, addressing a lot of those complexities and demands of edge computing. Could you share how this particular Lenovo model really, distinguishes itself in terms of performance, scalability, and security? Additionally, how do you see the, businesses really using it, especially in scenarios where, that rapid data analysis, even decision-making are required?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Lenovo sets itself apart with the SE455, and it's a unique platform compared to what some of the other OEMs are offering. Also, not just with our product, but also with our competitors' product. So with the SE455, you're gaining access to what our Edge portfolio, which we codename Sienna. Or if you look at the product SKU stack, it's the 8000 series. So you have that. That is meant to be a low power, still high core count product. So we're actually able to provide you up to 64 cores within a 200-watt power envelope. And if you compare that to what our competitor does, it's very much power efficient. So so you're getting access to that core count, which can help you do some training and inferencing at the actual edge. So if you're doing smaller models, think of a Llama 7 billion, maybe even a smaller Llama 13 billion model where using BFloat 16 or int 8, things of that nature, where the data set is not as big. You can fit it into the memory space of the platform. You can perform some of that inference, some of that training. The beauty of the platform though is you don't not only do you have a very efficient CPU with a high core count, you also have because of the way it's built, it's ruggedized, it's short depth, and you can actually pack GPUs in there if you wanted to. So if you're doing type of either inference at the edge and you need a GPU or an AI accelerator to perform that work for you, you have the ability to go to add that into the BOM because it's a 2U short def server. So you have space for about 3 PCIe cards in there, which allows you to pack 2 GPUs in there and do some of that work and offload it from CPU. So as you start growing these, especially if you look at some of the retail customers that are doing either loss prevention or loss prevention either at the self checkout lanes or using store cameras, or they're utilizing their cameras for inventory control, monitoring the inventory levels of their products. All those things typically you would do at the edge. You don't want to go to a data center. It takes too long, especially if you want to catch somebody. If you want to notify the store, hey, look, somebody just grabbed, an entire box of Lay's potato chips and is running out the door with them. Of course, having that, it gives you that power locally instead of having to go out and wait for a data center to perform the work and come back. So there's a lot of advantages to having that platform, and not just a retail location. Think about it from other use cases as well. If you're a factory floor and you want to perform QA on all of your products, you'll have the ability to have your camera scan each product as it goes through each individual production phase, and you will know right off the bat which boards or which parts do not meet the standard. So you're not having to go out to a data center. You're not waiting. You know right off the bat which product is bad and needs to be pulled off the line. And if you look at it from a metro and telco standpoint, a metro regional is great because being able to deploy these boxes in those cabinets you see near typical where you see stoplights on intersections, those cabinets, they put servers in some of those cabinets to control the lights. Well, now you're looking at ways to integrate AI into that and help free flow traffic. Put a box like that in there with a NEBS compliant processor. You can now add a GPU or an AI accelerator. You can do all that work right there locally at each individual intersection and have the intersections feed the data back to a data center and then make those decisions on the fly, ready to go. And you can even the other thing is beyond just that, silver alerts, amber alerts. You can have them scan for those things as well. So, you know, everything's very much focused on data center today because everybody wants to go train models and figure out how to integrate AI into the application. But once we get past that point, that hurdle, you'll be able to actually deploy and run these locally where you actually want them to run.
Okay, perfect.
And
Yeah, I love that. Sorry, good.
Oh, sorry, Pratik. No, I was just going to say, I think really the big thing in what Zlatko mentioned is the timing in all of this. A lot of where we see early adoption for artificial intelligence is in these kind of factory type of situations or refineries. A big use case that I've seen fairly often is monitoring something like a pressure sensor in some type of facility. Now imagine that's a remote facility. Do you want all of that information to have to go all the way back to your data center, be analyzed in your data center, and then go all the way back to the factory to tell your factory workers that a pressure sensor has failed? Great. They probably already know that by the time it gets back to them because the machine stopped working and things are blowing up and on fire. So, really important devices like that, like the security cameras that Zlatko mentioned, critical infrastructure monitoring devices that you're seeing on factory floors, remote refineries, oil platforms, things like that. You do not want to have to send that data all the way back to your data center. Even if it's a matter of minutes or even seconds, that can make all the difference in the world when you're talking about potentially shutting down a multi-million-dollar per hour factory setting. So more and more people are going to need this stuff to be available on the edge, and Lenovo is positioned, I think, better than anyone else right now to kind of fulfill that need.
Perfect. Yeah, I love those examples. Manufacturing, smart cities. I think like I say, we've been talking about edge computing for a while now. But one of the things, if we want to kind of stop for 1 second and think about, edge computing was almost on the fringe where it was more of to be people trying to understand until COVID hit. I know COVID is a bad word. We don't want to use it anymore, but that's what really accelerated the use of edge AI and all the technologies we're talking about now, because it made that technology a necessary need for schools, for businesses, for governments, everything. So that really helped. So I love the different examples that you guys provided. This was perfect. Thank you. So Jason, I'll jump to you now. When I think of modern infrastructure and data center, I think of the EPYC processors. And I understand there have been a lot of changes recently at AMD. With new products, new focus, and even new initiatives. For that reason, I'd really appreciate if you could give us an overview of the AMD portfolio and really what use cases are the sweet spot for those solutions.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when we think about AMD EPYC, really from day one with EPYC, the sweet spot has been HPC. High performance computing, big, large data clusters has kind of been where AMD is at their best since they first launched EPYC. And because of that, this conversation we're having today about artificial intelligence just kindly naturally fits into that set of compute. So, and as time has gone by, AMD has further honed in and kind of really concentrated on artificial intelligence as part of their offering, while also kind of widening their breadth a little bit and trying to get out of just doing the large data center deployments. So we see things like Sienna, like the 8000 series, being integrated into an edge device for Lenovo to run AI algorithms. And really it's not just an AI platform. It happens to be a small form factor platform that can run AI. So really taking these large models out of the data center and shrinking them into a smaller footprint so that you can do something like 64 cores in a edge server, which is something that was unthinkable even 4 or 5 years ago. And then at the same time within Sienna, yes, as well, but also the larger EPYC set, they're adding a lot of these crucial AI technologies there. So as Lacko mentioned earlier, bfloat 16, which was added or enhanced in the most recent generation of EPYC, VNNI, AVX 512, all of these AI-centric technologies are finding their way into AMD CPUs because, again, we're about a year and a half removed, I think, from Dr. Su announcing this big pivot to AI and the new GPUs that are coming out and AI becoming kind of the focal point for AMD. And they very quickly pivoted in that direction, and we're already kind of seeing results. So I was looking into kind of in my time researching what we could talk about here, a couple of case studies that came up specifically around artificial intelligence and using EPYC. So I'll share a couple links in the chat so people can read into these further if they want. But a couple examples I wanted to point out was a company called VinAI. They needed to power or they needed to utilize AI on servers in order to run an AI algorithm on thousands and thousands of security cameras. And they had these big honking servers that could house 16 GPUs. The problem they were having is finding a CPU that could actually keep up with those GPUs and wouldn't act as a bottleneck to those GPUs, because when you've got 16 GPUs in a server, that's a lot of horsepower. You need a CPU that can keep up, or the CPU is going to bottleneck everything, and it doesn't matter how many GPUs you had. So they went to AMD, being the kind of HPC specialist that AMD has been for the last few years, and utilizing AMD EPYC servers, they were able to expand their capabilities, increase their inferencing from 500 all the way up to 1,000 cameras per server, and at the same time, reduce the cost by about 35% over what they had expected to pay and had paid previously. Because another nice thing about AMD, you get that core density on a GPU or on a CPU. Now, instead of needing 800 servers to run your workload, you scale that back, you need 600 servers or 700 servers. So all of those are cost savings that you're getting to your customer. Another one I ran into was Microsoft with molecular modeling library. So they're a pharmaceutical company. We're looking to run a lot of very advanced AI algorithms to do molecular analysis and create new pharmaceutical technologies. Same type of thing. They needed a CPU that could really handle some dense workloads. When we're talking about molecular analysis, this is some of the most high-tech computing technology and artificial intelligence that you can find. And once again, Microsoft went to AMD. It was all done through an Azure deployment running AMD CPUs, and turned out to be a huge success stories for MML. They've expanded enormously. Again, I'll put the full story in the chat for everyone to look into. And there's just tons of these stories of AMD EPYC being used in these large deployments, as well as smaller deployments and edge deployments like we've mentioned here, and having huge success in doing so. And that's just right now. It's just going to continue as AMD focuses more and more and more on AI technology. I mean, I can already tell you I can't share details right now or I'll get in trouble, but obviously everyone knows there's a next generation of EPYC coming. That's no surprise to anybody. And there's some cool stuff happening with AI in that particular generation. So kind of keep your eyes peeled as details start to come out about that.
Perfect. Yep. I would have loved if you actually disclosed a lot more information than I can't disclose any information. So
I mean, I would love to do it as well, but I have a feeling I would have an uncomfortable conversation with some AMD people if I were to disclose it. So everyone will have to be patient, but trust me, it's some really cool things coming up. So keep your eyes peeled when the next gen EPYCs come out or get announced.
Perfect. Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Jason. So, there's a lot going, Jason. Any final thoughts about the future, or, what you see as, as a game changer that could revolutionize the industry? So think of it as, revolution 2.0, well, something beyond what we're seeing today. Zlatko.
Yeah, so one of the first things that I think the challenge around AI and what's really kind of been a bottleneck. I mean, there's a statistic out there, and it's very accurate. About 80% of all AI projects never make it to market, and there's a reason behind that. And a lot of that reasoning is that one, hiring data scientists, and first of all, finding data scientists is a challenge. Then once you've found these data scientists, you now have to have them parse the data set. So if a customer wants to use data to either train a model or use inference on data, you have to parse it, you have to sanitize it, and you have to classify it. Once you've done all that work, then you can start dumping it into an existing model. Use it with a Llama, a Gemini, there's Mistral, whatever your pick of the day is, right? But it's not going to be great unless you've unless you've either trained the model itself from that data point, or you've done the work to fine tune the model, which again requires data scientists, people that understand how to write these things, how to classify them, all this stuff. So that part right there has been probably the biggest bottleneck to expanding AI applications for individual companies' use cases. Everybody wants to run a Llama. Everybody wants to run a Mistral. Everybody wants to dump their entire HR department into a Llama 2, and then
Still
not have
might be
to.
the one Joe's down there.
Um,
Got the invite
dump.
from Seattle, but I thought the email said.
Oh, to go down.
What's
Yeah,
that
because I work
background
with
noise?
my guys that there. So.
Right, right.
So
But
how
everybody
do
wants
you
to-
guys,
everybody-
are you, what is,
I'm not sure what's going on.
I think somebody accidentally unmuted themselves. I found them though. I muted it.
Thank you. So everybody wants to take their data or the entire HR data set, dump it into Llama 2, and think it's going to give you a good answer. If you want to do that yourself, please feel free. You can go download LM Studio today, download some open source Llama 2 models, give it some data and ask it questions. You will find out real quick that it will feed you bad information. So there's a lot of work required on the back end. I think what you're going to start seeing more and more of is that you're going to start seeing different tools and applications become available to help classify and parse and sanitize the data set. So you actually ingest it into a model. And we're not there yet. We have the frameworks. We have already applications that exist. We have existing AI algorithms and just existing AI apps you can actually go pay for to do some of these things. But we're missing that key data, that key piece to it, to help make it more open and make it easier for them to deploy and get out to market faster. So I think once we get that part going, once we solve that part of the equation, and you don't need to hire 2, 3, 4, 5, 700 data scientists to sanitize the data sets, then you're going to start seeing more and more apps come out and more businesses figure out ways to come up with more unique solutions to their problems. Right now, I think everybody's kind of limited in scope because of what we have available. Whether it's stable diffusion, if you want to do image generation, computer vision, if you want to parse data from images, um, language models to do chatbots. I think this is only just the beginning. Once we solve the earlier variables, you'll start seeing more and more unique things come out to help like solve different things. As an example, um, you mentioned COVID. Earlier during COVID, one of the biggest problems was identifying that spike protein that was in COVID, right? That typically, without an algorithm and without machine learning, without neural networks, would typically take a year and a half to 2 years to do. And because these scientists came together, input all that data into a model and try to train that model, they're able to identify that spike protein in 3 weeks. So those are some of the use cases that are starting to pop up from existing ideas of where AI has already been. And now we're going to other areas and saying, how can AI help me do my job better or help me save lives better, get my product out to market faster? All these things are becoming more and more prevalent. Think of design and automation, right? Auto manufacturers, chip designers, utilizing AI to scan their own designs and maybe showing them, hey, look, your designs has XYZ flaws. Because typically you have to spend hundreds of hours running these simulations to get an answer whether it's good or bad. And if it's bad, well, you got to go fix it, run the simulation again. If you can use that data you've gotten from all those simulation runs, train a model around it, you could just simply feed a model your data and get a semi-decent response of whether it's actually going to work or not. So I think we're in the infancy of these things, and that's really where we're going to start going is less of how do I replace human beings and more of how do I get my products out to market faster and how do I make our jobs easier from an overall company perspective.
Perfect. I'd love that federated learning, healthcare and life sciences example that you use. That's definitely, the future for me anyway. That's what I've been focusing on for at least several quarters now to kind of bring that into action for Ingram Micro and Lenovo. So I definitely love that. Jason, what are your thoughts?
Man, you're going to ask me to follow that. I feel like I'm walking up on stage after Freddie Mercury here, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do now? No, but I think Zlatko really nailed it. I think a lot of the biggest problems with AI right now and where the industry is around AI right now is that the technology's kind of gotten further ahead of both the workforce as well as kind of the brain trust of business as a whole. And like AI can do all of these super cool and amazing things, but an AI output is only going to be as good as the data that you're putting into it. And kind of the perfect example that I like to point out here is if everyone remembers, what was it, like 5 years ago, Microsoft had their chatbot that they rolled out and they put it on Twitter, and within like an hour, all of a sudden the thing was like spouting out Nazi propaganda because like the data you're feeding this thing is coming off of Twitter. Like, where did you think this was going to go? So yeah, it just kind of highlights, I think, how important the data is, like Zlatko mentioned. So like he said, we really need the tools to be able to kind of parse through this data and get to the core things, the really important things. And then you need the people. I mean, there is a massive shortage of data scientists and AI software engineers. The manpower is not out there right now. So I think as those things start to catch up, and also as we kind of as a community or people start to answer a lot of these moral questions that come up around AI, because I think that's a big piece of it as well, is like, okay, we can use this for all of these different things, but what are we really comfortable with using it? So when you think about facial recognition technology and some of the ways that it's been rolled out, and questions about like, oh, is that really like okay, or are we all right with this kind of thing? So as we get more data scientists out there, we get more AI engineers, we kind of answer some of these gray area questions and get comfortable with what AI can do and what we're willing to use it for. And someone in the chat mentioned bad actors, and we got to kind of figure out how we're going to handle that kind of thing as well. So we're very early in the infancy. The comparison I keep making for a lot of people, or when I'm talking to this with a lot of people, is if you remember the wild, wild west days of the internet back in, like 1990, 1991, when it was just like the internet was amazing. It was this cool new technology that everyone knew was going to revolutionize and change the world. But man, if you were around back then, it was wild. Actually being in there and the stuff that you could run into and things that were being done with it. So I think we're kind of in that same stage of AI now. And as we start to kind of hone the technology and train the people on how to use the technology, I think we're going to be able to do some incredible things. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where it goes from here. I think it's going to be amazing.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you. So, one thing I wanted to mention is Lenovo actually has a center of excellence, AI center of excellence, dedicated to AI and, discovery of different types of use cases. So a lot of the things we kind of talked about are part of that, center of excellence. So definitely, look out for that. Or if not, reach out to me and I can definitely help get you to the right contacts and even the links to basically be able to figure out what it is and what's available because, when we talk about the future, the Center of Excellence is already doing it. So definitely, keep an eye out for that. And I'll actually provide it as some follow up as well. But, I think for me, I think we've covered everything that I needed to cover. So, I'll just do like a quick, recap and then, we'll just kind of get to the end. But, so to kind of wrap up, what I've seen is that we took a fantastic look into the world of Edge AI and the latest in tech between, with Zlatko and Jason. And Nate gave us a peek into the exciting new programs coming from Lenovo and Ingram Micro. So what's next? My call to action for you is that you start thinking about how these innovations could fit into conversations with your customers. And if you need help with that, or you have a question or want to chat about everything we've covered today, don't hesitate to reach out to me and I'll line up the correct resources to, have that deeper conversation. Let me share my screen here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yep. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, how do you win this amazing prize? Thanks to AMD, one lucky attendee will win this ultralight cooler. Sorry, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. That's pretty cool. I wish I could get one too, but to be eligible, you just need to set up a call with our Ingram Micro team to discuss how Lenovo and AMD can help you grow your data center business. Simple as that. We'll be sending out a follow-up email with more details. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And one more thing, sorry. And let me I'll put in the link for April's event. Definitely register for that. Sooner the better. Thank you. Second, sorry, I have too many windows here. I'm trying to figure out which one. And all right, that's it. I finally found the window here. Yep, that's it. Big thanks to Nathan, Zlatko and Jason, for sharing their expertise, their time, and and to all of you for joining us. Please keep the conversation going because that's the only way we're gonna continue to grow. Make it a terrific Tuesday. Goodbye for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.